My brother's fiancée tried to prank my husband and got handled by him. Now I'm thinking about skipping their wedding because my brother wants my husband to apologize for what he did. Posted by you/Natural Grocery 3159. I'm 25F, and my husband is 30M. My brother, 32M, and his fiancée, 31F, recently came to visit us in our city. My partner and I are new homeowners, and they were staying with us for the first time. My brother's fiancée loves Halloween. She is also a Disney adult and has a childlike side to her that comes out sometimes. She's just super absorbed when it comes to her interests. Anyway, I'm just sharing this for context because, from my perspective, she often gets carried away, and I genuinely feel what I'm about to describe was the result of one of those moments where she just took it too far and suffered some negative consequences. However, she is taking it as a very personal attack. So we disagreed, and the disagreement resulted in my husband cutting their visit short, aka, they were asked to leave. 31F has made comments more than a few times since meeting him that my husband gives off a dark vibe. She is always comparing him to characters from various books she reads. It's not necessarily criticism, she always explains that they are compliments. Well, I'm not sure anymore. Her reasons for these comparisons are based on his looks, the general vibe he gives off, and his tattoo. He only has one, but it's on his hand. During this recent visit, she mentioned that she would love to see someone like him get scared because she couldn't imagine him getting startled or letting out a scream. Scaring him became her goal during her stay with us. None of us knew about it, not even my brother. The incident causing all the trouble is that she tried to jump scare my husband in the garage. It was dark, and she ambushed him while wearing a full outfit and mask when he was returning from a run. Well, he didn't let out the scream she wanted. He instinctively reacted by shoving her against the wall. She hit her head and was quite shaken up. Luckily, he realized very quickly from the sound she made that it likely wasn't an intruder. He switched the lights on and pulled her mask off. He told me he was very confused in the moment. Why would she attack him? My husband helped her inside, apologized, made her tea, and then called me. I was out with my brother. When we got home, I asked 31F if she was okay and told her that her prank was stupid because she could have gotten seriously hurt. I don't know if it was what I said that bothered her or if she was just waiting for her partner to come home, but she started crying about how my husband used an excessive amount of force, knowing it was most likely her just doing a harmless prank. In a nutshell, my husband asked her straightforwardly, "Are you implying I intentionally assaulted you?" She hesitated but chose to say yes, and my husband responded with, "Get out of my house." I tried to smooth things over, but my husband was adamant that if that's what she genuinely believes, she's not welcome to stay. 31F chose to stick to her accusation. I decided to side with my husband. My brother is angry with me. He thinks I should have tried to do damage control and let them stay by convincing my husband to lean more into apologizing and placating his fiancée, who was just recovering from the situation. He thinks this whole thing would have blown over if I had helped my husband fold. I find this unfair. My brother was counting on me to handle all of this, yet he didn't speak up during the conversation or try to talk sense into his fiancée. My husband remained calm the entire time, but he obviously felt insulted by her remarks, and I think that's valid. Why should I have taken my brother's fiancée's side over my own husband, especially when I feel like she was wrong for doing all that and then turning around and accusing my husband of wanting to hurt her? My brother says I was short-sighted and should think of their upcoming wedding, but I think he is the one who needs to get his fiancée to apologize to my husband. Edit. I would like to clarify, when I said I tried to smooth the situation, I was not taking 31F's side or doubting my husband in any way. I simply tried to get everyone to consider tabling this until emotions had cooled down. And by those emotions, I mean the hysterics of my brother's fiancée. My husband was calm throughout, though there was an obvious finality to his decision. He made his statement and disengaged. As mentioned, my brother looked to me, hoping I would persuade my husband, but I didn't, so they had to leave. Relevant comments. Commenter. Your husband showed remarkable restraint. My former brother-in-law, thank God that's behind me, thought it would be funny to attack me on the street. I was walking down the street with headphones in, and suddenly, I was bent over in a headlock. I had no idea Buddy was there. I get described as dark all the time. I'm not, personality-wise, but my look is. I'm frequently, for example, described as being covered in tattoos despite having none. People just assume I do because of how I look otherwise. Which is all to say, I don't get randomly jumped on the street. So there I am, suddenly staring at my own feet, and it honestly takes me a minute to clock that I'm in a headlock. Someone's arm is tightening around my throat. Now, dude might have been talking to me, but like I said, headphones. All I hear is Animal I Have Become or something, Crazy Train or Sweet Caroline. I don't know, but certainly not my brother-in-law identifying himself. Like I said, I'm a big guy. 6'2" and somewhere around 280 pounds. Buddy with my head is closer to 5 feet 11 inches, 190. So I threw him back the way he came. Just stood up with him, and as he left the ground, I tossed his back end up and over. So Buddy did a 6-foot header onto the concrete. This felt like it took a minute, but honestly, we were probably touching for less than 5 seconds. I don't know how messed up he was because, while he was lying there in a puddle, I realized who it was and more or less what he'd been thinking, or hadn't been thinking, more aptly, and just started yelling at his dumb rear. I think the last thing I said was, "You're lucky I didn't effing kill you," and then I literally left him heaped on the sidewalk. No idea if he went to or needed the hospital. We didn't speak for a good while after that. Took him about 5 months to apologize. Your future sister-in-law is lucky she didn't have a $1,000 dental bill. I wouldn't pay 1 red cent to an idiot in a monkey costume who tricked me into punching their goddamn mouth. Ops response. Your story gave me chills. I, myself, ran through a lot of worst-case scenarios when I learned about the prank my brother's fiancée pulled because this whole situation could have been so much worse. My husband is similar, a 6 feet 3 inches athletic guy who could have done some damage. He was in the military for 10 years. Fortunately, he's the type of person who always has a measured calmness about him. But even then, you just never know how you will react under those circumstances. You're so right. This could have turned into a nightmare for everyone involved, and I can't believe she doesn't see it that way. This was not a harmless prank, it was an ambush. And for what? I will never understand her reasons for even attempting this. This was not some cute prank. I'm glad the situation you shared didn't end up far worse than it could have, like an irrecoverable worst-case scenario. Thanks for sharing this and shedding some light. Pranks like this are dangerous. Update 19 days later. I received a lot of messages requesting an update. I've never made one before, so I hope I'm going about this correctly. I tried to talk to my brother multiple times after the incident, but each attempt ended in silence because I refused to give in to his demands. He wanted my husband and me to apologize to his fiancée, starting with me downplaying the whole situation so she wouldn't feel bad about her prank. I hesitated to send him the Reddit post I'd made. Initially, I thought it might work against us and make things worse. But his total inability to reason with me or see the situation for what it was became beyond frustrating. Since I couldn't physically deliver a cold, hard slap to his face for asking me to be complacent in allowing my husband to be falsely accused of assault, I figured the next best thing would be for him to read all your comments. Following the advice I got here, I tried to get ahead of the situation by informing my parents. My dad, a reasonable and practical man, immediately sided with my husband. His comments were similar to what a lot of people here had said, focusing on how dangerous and reckless the prank was and the ramifications of being falsely accused of assault. My mom, who unfortunately has always favored my brother, suggested we at least hear her out, referring to my brother's fiancée. As livid as I was about her reaction, I wasn't surprised by it. My dad did try to shut down her skepticism, but she remained on my brother's side for a few days, until I showed them footage from my brother's Tesla, which he had tried to delete. The Sentry thing, sorry if I'm using the terminology incorrectly, I'm not a Tesla owner, recorded part of the interaction in the garage, not the jump scare itself, but the aftermath, which, in my opinion, was more crucial. My husband's account was confirmed. He used a measured amount of force to immobilize her and was prepared to escalate if necessary, which is beyond generous for someone to do in a situation like that and definitely not owed. Many of you speculated that she might have a fixation or even a crush on my husband, and I'm starting to reconsider some past interactions with that in mind. I also misunderstood what dark book she said she enjoyed, and compared my fiancé to. I learned from comments here that they are actually a subtype of the romance genre. I didn't know she was comparing him to characters in romance novels because one of the characters I recall her mentioning was from a book about dragons. I genuinely wish I still remembered the names of the various characters she's brought up over the months so I could satisfy my own curiosity, but my brain glossed over the names during conversations. We have a group chat for the wedding, which includes my brother, my parents, my brother's fiancée, and her parents. In that chat, I addressed the incident but didn't share the Tesla footage, only mentioned that it exists. Her parents didn't respond in the chat, though I know they saw the message. Later, her mom called mine. Apparently, they had no idea about the prank. It's hard to say whether they believe me or if they've taken their daughter's side after speaking with her. My brother's fiancée, and my brother, have both extended apologies to my husband and have requested our presence at their upcoming wedding. My parents, trying to keep the peace, have encouraged us to go, saying it's the honorable thing to do. So, for the sake of family formality, we've decided to attend. However, my husband has made it clear that we'll be there out of obligation. We will be keeping a distance from them going forward. We haven't explicitly stated it, but there will be no future invitations to our home, not even for the holiday dinner we had planned before all this happened. My husband is going to minimize all future interaction with my brother's fiancée. I don't think we'll ever trust her again. I'll try to spend some one-on-one time with my brother to gauge where we stand. Our relationship feels strained, and this incident has made me realize that I lost him to her long before this happened, something I hadn't fully recognized until now. Thanks to everyone for sharing your opinions. A reporter from a news outlet reached out to me, and I remember requesting that if anyone uses my story, they pass on the following sentiment. I hope that if you share my story, you can help highlight the dangers of ambush-style pranks. These types of pranks create a threatening environment and put everyone involved at risk of serious harm or injury. They are stupid and dangerous. No one should have to feel threatened or be put in a position where their safety is compromised for the sake of a prank. If that's the setup, then it's not a prank. Actions like these will always have consequences, some of which may be irreparable, and no prank is worth the risk of someone getting hurt. Relevant comments. Commenter. How did you get the footage from your brother's Tesla? Ops response. He used my brother's phone to unlock it. You just have to bring it near the car. The phone doesn't have to be unlocked or anything. He pulled up the event and recorded a video of it with his phone. I know you didn't ask, but I'll just add this next part so others can see more easily since I sometimes can't keep up with answering all the comments. When it came to apologizing, my brother refused to be honest and claimed he might have accidentally deleted it, because he apparently has a habit of deleting all the footage since it records unnecessarily often, and he rarely reviews it. He claims that since my husband got in and reviewed it first, the tablet in the car didn't show the notification for him when he turned the car on as they were leaving. He assumed it hadn't recorded an event. Second update 2 months later. I still get the occasional message or notification on this account, which surprises me. I always feel bad because I can't feed the interest with a truly juicy update. This is the last one from me, guys. My brother and his fiancée got married. She was pregnant. My mom had apparently already suspected it, but the pregnancy was announced during the wedding. The pregnancy has made my parents soften a bit. My mom is distracted by the idea of becoming a grandma. It hasn't changed how I feel. I still think it was a mistake for him to marry her, and I'm worried about him, but I also don't have any intense feelings. It's his life. My husband didn't have to attend the wedding. We all said he could skip it, but he wanted to accompany me. Nothing dramatic happened at the wedding. We kept a bit of a distance, so maybe we missed any drama if there was some. I did learn something disturbing from someone who has spent more time with my brother's wife. She had apparently made some disgusting comments about my husband in the past. She said he looks like a Lesson Comics character. It feels nasty to directly quote her, so I will just paraphrase. She basically implied he is so essay-able and/or would be doing the essay or something. I don't know if any of this has to do with the context of these types of comics. This was all apparently said in a WhatsApp chat, but there's no proof of the conversation because the person who told me said she got a new phone and didn't back up her WhatsApp. I don't have any reason to believe she would make this up, though. I didn't confront my brother's wife about this comment because it was said a long time ago, and it just doesn't seem worth bringing up. We have just continued our no contact. Like I said, pretty boring update. But this is truly my final one now that the wedding is over.